Are you ready for this? Let's do it. Welcome to the Manifestation Queen podcast, your filter-free and uncensored source for all things manifestation. I'm Cassie MacKenzie, and I'm a manifestation expert. I'm here to raise your vibes and your cash flow. Listen, I've manifested everything from a beer, a six-figure salary, my husband, and homes, and more. And I am spilling everything I can on this podcast so you can learn how you can do the same. The more fun I have, the more manifestations appear, and the more money I make. So it's my obsession to show you how you can be, do, and have anything you want. So join the movement to raise your income and your impact on this world. Become a manifestation queen and create a life that feels like a vacation. Let's do the damn thing. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Manifestation Queen podcast. And oh man, am I going to put the man in manifestation today because we are talking about abundance, all right? And we're talking about how to feel abundant in those moments where you're breaking apart. This is where a lot of people really get challenged and quit. You start to feel like a little resistance. You feel like it's too hard, and you start to make things mean things where it's like you don't really need to. And for me, like a huge example of this is that, like, picking back up on my trip to Costa Rica. If you listen to the previous episode, that was a little sneak peek into some of the trials and things that we went through just to get there. Didn't even really go into some of the shit that happened once we were there. But like, I feel like this whole trip was a huge test. And not in a test to say like, oh, do you really deserve this? Like, I don't believe we go through tests to see what it is we would deserve in life. But I think we go through tests to see like how ready we are for what we've asked for. And like I've heard like a bunch of people say in the past, like, you've got to be able to hold the good and the bad. And I think that that is true. And this trip really highlighted that for sure, because a lot of times, like, what a lot of people do is you'll think that that things need to go a certain way, or that you need to receive abundance in a certain way. And that if you don't receive it in that way, then it's not going to be coming to you. And what that does is it like puts a thorn in the bush that holds all the joy that you have, okay? And prevents you from holding the joy because you're holding it hostage. You're basically like wrapping it around with a bunch of thorns every single time that you decide that, you know, your abundance needs to come a certain way. And it prevents you from really enjoying what you currently have, and not in a way of like, oh, well, if you just go back and enjoy what you currently have, then you're going to feel abundant. That's not what I mean at all. And this used to trip me up in the past too, because I'm like, oh, this just seems like a fancy way for all these spiritual motherfuckers to tell me like, oh, go be grateful for what you have and then you'll feel bad. Like, it lets them off the hook of actually telling me what the fuck I need to do in order to be more abundant, right? Who's been there before? Welcome to my uncensored manifestation podcast. I'm going to tell it real. So really what I've come to find on a deeper way is that that's just part of what it is. And when you boil it down, it's not just about recognizing where you're abundant now so that then you feel better and you can be a match for more. It's when you notice how, like, what is in front of you right now, the ways in which you're abundant currently that are right in front of you right now, you become a match for being able to have your eyes widened and your ears open up even more to see, hear, and feel what's already been there in front of you, yet you couldn't see because part of you was blinded to it and part of you was shut off from it because that's where you weren't a match for it. Does that make sense? Let that one sink in for a second. Go back and re-listen to it if you need to. But what I realized, especially on this trip, and why I don't think we're put through tests is You've got to see what you are capable of holding in the moment. If you have this great big plan and you've got these big desires of what you want, and you're controlling the way in which it's going to come the entire time, obviously it's going to take longer for it to come to you. But also you're not going to enjoy it as much as it's coming to you. And then, but beyond that, you're going to feel, you're not going to be capable of holding it once it does arrive. Okay? You're not going to be capable of holding it once it arrives. And what I mean by that is there's a certain level of like energetic responsibility that you have to be able to hold the vibration of that next level life that you have. It doesn't mean that your problems are totally going to go away. You're just going to have different problems, okay? You're just going to have different problems. Take this for example. This time last year, or let's just say 2 years ago, my family and I could not have gone through what we just went through in Costa Rica. Like we would not, in my mind, I would not have had the funds to do it. In my, energetically, emotionally, I would not have been able to make it through without being a complete wreck and like cock blocking myself from the abundance that I could experience. And this is because I wasn't energetically a match for what I truly was capable of experiencing. I thought that I was, and I thought that I could be, but I was on a smaller level. So when you open yourself up to more and you open yourself up to receiving more, then you become not just an energetic match, but it is like a freaking soul bonded flame, right? Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like this, it's like a soulmate, right? You're an energetic soulmate for your desire. And that is where the magic comes in. That's where all the magic comes in. So in this particular trip, when we were sitting there in Costa Rica without any idea of where our bags were floating around in the world, a huge language barrier that we couldn't, like, I obviously don't speak Spanish fluently. We had no car to get around. Our plans were like completely disrupted, and one of our kids was sick. He had gotten a stomach bug, and then the other one did too. So imagine going to the pharmacy, not being able to really speak Spanish, having to figure that out on your own, and so that you can get your sick kid to feel better and to get them to stop like having diarrhea and to stop, like feeling like shit, right, on their vacation. Poor little guy. Plus I was worried with it being hot there, with dehydration and, getting them enough fluids without making him sick while we were there. And so having the medical background that I have really helps, but also being able to quickly learn and be intuitive and learn, a language that I did not grow up learning. I grew up learning French and Italian, which they're close enough to Spanish that I was able to deduce enough and Google Translate, thank God, to be able to communicate with the people down there and with the pharmacists and doctors and stuff. So, this lesson today, this message around abundance is you've got to be able to keep yourself open, not just an energetic match to your desires from like a materialistic point of view, but like sometimes your desire is just to be able to speak a language in a way that you can get the medicine for your kids that they need. Sometimes the desire is to be able to talk to a owner of a golf cart company that has one cart there and figure out how you can run it for your kids to put a smile on their face. Another is just to be able to go find a place that has a fucking Aperol spritz. All right. Or, find out how to make one of those cheeky bathing suits look better on your body that's had two, C-sections, right? And then also to be able to like converse with, private shuttle people because all of the tourist shuttles were booked for a group like us. And so I had to go book private shuttles that were like several $100s, probably like $750 for all of the shuttles that we booked down there to be able to get, to and from our destinations. It might have been more like 800. But, there are these little things and being able to, cry when I needed to cry to let the emotions out, or else I was going to be a total mess and like, bottled up and freaking out everywhere. But like, releasing what needs to be released, but then also then taking a moment to what's the abundance you can see, hear, touch, feel, smell all around you. Like hearing my kids sit there smiling and laughing and playing, in the ocean, right? Because they couldn't go in the pool, not if they were having sharks everywhere. Like we were making jokes about it too. Like, you got number 1 and number 2, and we were making up like we had number 3, 4, and 5 down there. Like it had gotten like shit. Literally, was like about to hit the fan, and we were like, okay, which one is it? Is it a shark? Is it a number 3? And so like we obviously like had to change the change tack a few times, but like finding where you can laugh at things, finding out where you can like make a joke about things, and finding the foods that your kids can eat that aren't too greasy and aren't going to make their little tummies like feel like crap, but like and also getting the private time that you need at the same time with the loved ones that you come with, right? Like the two things you always want to anchor back into when you're feeling like life is going against you is gratitude and abundance, and sticking up for yourself, but gratitude and abundance, right? And I just started looking around. Like there was one moment that was horrifying. We were at an all-inclusive resort that I actually really loved. It's called the Fiesta Resort. And they have a few different like pools and things, but they don't have lifeguards. And they have a lot of activities for the kids. They have like a lot of fun like nighttime shows that, oh my God, it was like I felt so much gratitude for being able to be there during like Christmas and over Christmas Eve, Christmas night, and then the next day. We stayed there 4 nights. And so everything's included, all the food, all the alcohol, anything that your kids want. It's all included, and you can like book in at some of their local nice restaurants that they have in there too if you make a reservation, and it's all, plated really amazing, really good. And little iguanas running around, and it's on the beach, but the beach is like I didn't really like the beach so much. It was like volcanic ash beach, and so it was just kind of like kind of gross. I mean, I'm a beach snob though. I mean, we live here in like by Treasure Island. Our beach is like powdery sand, and freaking Pablo Escobar would cream his pants if he saw our beach. But when we were at the Fiesta, there was this horrifying moment where the kids were doing this big Jenga game, and then all of a sudden you heard all these whistles, and like you saw everybody scurrying around, and like a kid had fallen in the pool and was drowning. And so they pulled him out, and they were just like this lifeless body. They were trying to like bring him back. And all of a sudden they like picked him up and pulled him, into like, they started running with him into where the hotel was, like out of where everybody that could see him. They were like right next to the snack bar. And I don't know what exactly happened, but because he kind of had, like looked like swimmies on, but they must not have been working. And so just seeing his poor little lifeless body and them working on him and running off, like I get like, choked up talking about it now, even because it was like, life can be taken away in a moment, and so like they worked on him and took him in. They said that he was fine afterwards and took him off to the hospital. But like, I just had dropped to my knees, and I was just like, no. Like I felt the pain that like the mom probably felt that day, like it was as if it was one of my own. And Life is so precious. You've got to look at these moments that are right in front of you right now. You can't spend all your time looking at what somebody else has done and compare yourself to that and feel like shit and give yourself reasons to like not enjoy what you're doing right now in this moment or what's available to you. Because when it all comes down to nothing, none of it fucking matters. None of it fucking matters. No, it doesn't matter if somebody has $1 million day. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? Like, there is so much abundance. Like, what is the reason why you would want money to begin with? What is the reason why you want this? Do you want security? Because security is fucking boring. You want abundance? That's where it is. Okay? Like, being able to look at your life, and maybe it's not where you want it to be, you still look at it and think it's beautiful and worthy of praise and celebration and joy in the moment right now. Okay? This is where the magic happens, all right? Being able to say, hey, like, I am so grateful for everything I have. Maybe I'm not where, the goal is right yet, but like, it's coming. I know it is. And in the meantime, I've got something beautiful here right in front of me. There's always something beautiful to find right in front of you. So with that, this is where you get out of like the poverty mindset, right? And you get into your, $1 million mindset. This is where you get into aligning with the vibrations of abundance, health, wealth, happiness, and joy. Like, you bet your ass I sat there and hugged my kids and took them and sat down and like just went through and thanked God and the angels for like everything that we have already. And the fact that they were okay. And I definitely lived every moment after that super intentionally. Like, God, it made me just keep looking at them. And it was just like, God, what? You ask, like, why are these moments put in front of you for you to see? And it's for you to really have an opportunity to be helpful and be in gratitude and be in abundance and just be a human being. Sometimes we forget our humanity, I feel like. And there's a lot of people out there that, like, might be going through a tougher time than you. You just never know. So root yourself in abundance, root yourself in that gratitude. The rest is all going to be taken care of for you. And there were several times on this trip where I was like, why the fuck did we even do this? Like, why did I just waste all that money, all this time, all this everything on this fucking trip? Like, it's just been one shit thing after another. But then, I look at my kids and I'm like, well, this is such a special time together. Like, getting them able to play in a different country and meet different people and, experience a part of life that people don't get to see and have a lot of fun doing it, So with that, your key to abundance, your key is always going to be taking this moment that is right now and rooting yourself into what you can feel, the way you can feel abundance, what you see, what you hear, what's all around you right now, what's available that you can touch right now, right freaking now, because it's all there for a reason. It's all there as proof of what you're capable of. All right. So for those of you who don't already join me in my abundance group, the Angelic Wealth Frequencies, come join me on Facebook in that group. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Go take a look at where you're abundant. Go really root into that. Channel that into your desires. And share with me what you took away from this episode on social media. You can tag me at XO Cassie MacKenzie. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks a million for choosing to push play on another episode of the Manifestation Queen podcast. You truly amazed me. And if this episode blew your mind, then please leave a 5-star rating and a quick review on iTunes so more people like you can become manifestation queens too. See you next time.